Hey everyone, it's Rabbi Shmuel Pollan. I hope you're doing well. Here on this channel, we take ancient Jewish wisdom and we try to apply it to modern day problems, to understand them, to solve them. And the problem today is, what is Judaism? I got a question recently from a friend. What is the summary of Judaism? And it just so happens that I'd read an article about a great Jewish rabbi who was talking about Hasidic philosophy, which is the essence of Judaism. And he was saying that the essence of Judaism is ich nit, just two words, ich nit, not I. So if you could take selfishness and do the exact opposite of selfishness, that would be Judaism. It is the idea that you can totally give yourself up for another person or for God. And it's very interesting that the Jewish soul is compared to a flame. And a flame is trying to get off the wick constantly, trying to get off, trying to get off, trying to get off. Even though it knows that when it goes off the wick, it's going to totally lose itself, the flame doesn't care. The flame would rather be in its source and lose itself than not be in the source and not lose itself. Jews are willing to do anything for anybody and for God, even if it means giving up their very life. And that's why my book is called All In for God, because this is what a Jew is. He is all in for God. He's at a point of total self-sacrifice. That's his true core, and willing to give up his life. And this willingness to die is hugely important to Judaism. Abraham was the first Jew. What was he asked to do? To circumcise himself, because the deepest desire is sexuality, and the extra desire of sexuality was something that Abraham had to give up to God, to give up the deepest part of himself. What else was he asked to do? He was asked to take his son Isaac and sacrifice him on Har HaMoriah, on Mount Moriah, so that he could become a sacrifice and be given up to God, even though Isaac was the most precious thing to Abraham, and he was going to carry on the torch of Judaism. All of Judaism depend on Isaac, and God wanted him to give that up for God because he wanted him to be all in for God. That is what Judaism is about. That is what is the opposite of Buddhism and Hinduism, which are very focused on the self. It is more related to Islam, because Islam has suicide bombers, and Jews are basically suicide bombers for good instead of being suicide bombers for bad. We're totally willing to give up our lives for the good. And the Jews got the Torah, they got the Bible on Mount Sinai in front of there were 3 million Jews there, and we were given this mission to be a light unto the nations, a light unto the world. And that's what this channel is exactly about. And if you're wondering why Jews are so successful in business and in building Israel the way that they have, it is the same reason that they're all in for God. If it's not God, it's something else. They're all in for the cause. So a businessman who is willing to die before somebody else beats him in business will always beat out the other person. Let's repeat that. A Jewish businessman who's willing to die for the cause, who's willing to die for his business, will always outcompete somebody who's not willing to die. So it is this willingness to die that also makes Jews very successful in business. And in this way, we can summarize Judaism very quickly and easily so that everybody can understand. And I hope you'll all take a step closer to the Jewish people and closer to the idea of being all in for God. God bless.